Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is the New Mutants number 55. Got a great cover here. Look at this guy just flying in, doing a freaking dive kick on Sam Guthrie. If you can't fly, you die. Cannonball. Anyhow, this issue of the New Mutants is the first issue of Louise Simonson taking over for Chris Claremont. And I said for a long time I was going to do a Weezie New Mutants, and I figured I might as well do her first one. Because it's actually a fairly entertaining issue. This is also, I think, the first issue with, I don't know if it's necessarily his first time on New Mutants, but I know it's his first time kind of taking over as the main artist of the New Mutants, and that is Bret Blevins. So, Weezie and Bret Blevins. So, just as a side point, I'm not super crazy about Weezie and Bret Blevins' time on New Mutants. But I will say, overall, still excellent, especially, compared to, modern stuff. But in my personal view, having read through them, I don't rate them as high as Claremont's run on it. But it's still very good, for the most part. Man, we open up to this splash page. This is, I should talk about the backstory about. So you're probably wondering, why did Chris leave the book? Essentially, he was super busy writing both Excalibur and I believe also Wolverine. So he had just too many titles under his belt, and he couldn't keep track of all of them. So he had to kind of release the New Mutants over to Weezie to kind of offload some of his work. But anyway, let's just get into this issue. Here's Sam Guthrie flying around. They stink. All of them stink. And it turns out he's just worried trying to find good clothing for a party. So this is a not super action-packed episode of the New Mutants, but it is a very intriguing issue that kind of mixes elements of Claremont's, characterizations of the character, as well as things that Weezie tends to write about in her more whimsical slice of life type of issues, like she did in Power Pack. But anyhow, you got Doug and Sam talking in the back room as Sam tries to find clothing, worried about what his girlfriend Leela thinks of her. And these two, for the short issues that they're together, they're kind of an oddball couple, just because Doug and Sam didn't necessarily talk all that much before the issues of this. For those of you who aren't aware, and as Danny makes very clear in this panel right here, Bobby and Warlock are missing from the team, as they have gone off, separated from the team for the Fallen Angels miniseries written by Joe Duffy that I will one day go over. So they're thinking about doing a party, kind of get their minds off of just things not going well for the New Mutants. Up until now, things have been kind of hectic for the Mutants, especially the last 10 or 15 issues of Claremont's run. The New Mutants are kind of like going back in time and fighting Warlock's dad and getting their asses handed to them by the Hellions. So things have not been going well for our JB team. And they just want to party and have some fun, And you get, both Bret Blevins and Weezie kind of having fun with this whole issue right here. So they kind of corner Rain, who is, of course, very shy and conservative. And, Danny's able to kind of mess with her and figure out what kind of clothing she likes to wear. And out pops in and out of a portal goes Ileana, and she brings back a Cinderella dress for her. And I will say this about Bret Blevins' art. I think I have a mixed feeling about his art, because I don't like the way he draws Danny. There's just something about the way he draws Danny that I just don't like compared to the previous artists. But there is several characters that he draws very well, especially when it comes to getting out their personalities. And I think he draws Rain very well. I really like the way Bret Blevins draws Rain. It's really, really good. Obviously, he has a more cartoony, more expressive art style than other artists that were kind of known at this time. Definitely not the traditional Marvel method, but still very good. So after some, drama, some joking around, a little bit of adulting scolds from Magneto, they head off to the party, in which case Sam is dressed up rather oddly with the vest and the cowboy boots to go dancing with his girl Leela. One of these days I got to go over the annual where they met, but essentially Leela is like an intergalactic thief She can kind of teleport all over the place. I think she's a mutant. But yeah, for some reason she's taken a great liking to Sam, so they kind of hook up. And on the side here, you got a really intriguing. So yeah, Claremont and Weezie all kind of had these plays with Doug, where Doug kind of had romantic ties to a lot of different characters, whether it was Kitty in the beginning, Kitty Pryde, Psylocke, British Psylocke, and in this case, Weezie's kind of showing, Doug showing a great deal of interest in Rain. And yeah, I like the facial expressions here. You see, this is like such expressive art. So yeah, Doug does after a little bit of teasing, Doug kind of spies on this group of stick in the muds that are not happy at Sam and Leela. And then he determines that this guy with the freaking weird hairdo kind of has a beef on Sam. And we see that beef exercised here. Sam gets kind of tripped up by one of the dudes secretly. And then after being embarrassed, he goes off to the side, wisely ignores the drink, but unfortunately, unwisely, gets tricked into taking some pills at a party. You don't want to do that. So this issue kind of doubles as both a teachable moment and an anti-drug message. So he gets back on the dance floor and then, starts tripping balls really hard and ends up running out. And Rain and Doug both see this. I love the expressions right here. Man, Bret, like, the way he draws Rain, it's like, I know I've said it like 3 times already, but man, it's good. But anyhow, yeah, these guys, turns out they're aliens. They're dragging Sam off to go kill him. And Rain and Doug go back into the room to go grab Danny and Ileana to go try and save Sam. Sam blasts at the last second to kind of escape, and they start shooting after him and chasing after him. And all the while, Sam's doing his typical, yelling or basically chastising himself for his stupidity. Rightfully so in this case. Don't do drugs, kids. And you got the alien dude kind of laughing out loud, about the destruction and havoc that is being caused right here. So Rain and Doug drag Ileana and Danny away from some boys. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Danny chasing after the dudes. That's not like the movies. And they teleport using Ileana's power over to where Sam is at, who has crashed over in a garbage barge. Yep, party's over. So Rain finally says, fuck it, I'm tired of this. Transforms into her wolfen form and takes down a dude. Doug gets into the action, also gets scraped right here. This is, somewhat foreshadowing of some events later in Fall of the Mutants, for those of you who are in the know. And is barely saved by Ileana right here. And, they're able to take the guys out, and Leela shows up right there, teleporting in. And they discover what this guy is after. It's some sort of jewel that is very famous for those out in the universe and the galaxy. So, Leela kind of is disappointed in her old companions. They were once just thieves, but now they're murderers. So, she kind of, is frustrated with that. And really interesting right here, and I do want to note this, for whatever reason, Ileana is just, like, on the hot edge right here. She just wants to kill these these dudes, like, outright. It's a bit of a jump of character right here, and you can see what Weezie is building up to later on in her run, per se, with what she wants to do with Ileana. But at the same time, it's a bit, excessive. Ileana was always kind of dark and fighting her inner demon, but in the previous issue, she wasn't necessarily a murderer. In fact, the only time she actually used limbo as a punishment for her enemies were those that truly were out to kill her, or like incredibly all-powerful, like the case of Magnus and Enchantress, right? So, kind of interesting in that regard. But anyhow, Lila tells them, just send him to Limbo, which is kind of interesting. I think Limbo is technically infected with the transmode virus at this time, so I don't know if these dudes made it out. I'm guessing not. Weezie's pretty dark. People die in Weezie's books all the time. And, the gang kind of has a nice moment here where, Rain being precocious and cute as usual, asks for Sam's forgiveness, and Danny tells her, hey, come on, cheer up. So she gets a nice little overcoat sweater, everybody runs off, and the gang ends up victorious. Overall, a fun, Somewhat, whimsical, if a little bit inconsistent issue of the New Mutants. So I think Weezie does a pretty admirable job taking over for the first issue. And, can't really complain. I think my complaints kind of hedge later on in the issue, especially when a certain flying monster animal enters this book in the next issue. But anyhow, that is the issue right here. Pretty fun, not like the greatest, but fun issue overall. Let's get to the art. So, I have not drawn Mr. Guthrie at all in my New Mutants reviews, so I figured I'd finally get to drawing him. This issue is kind of about him for the most part. But I don't really want to draw him in the cowboy boots and the vest, so I just put him in his classic uniform and went from there. So these are pencils. These are drawn appropriately with a... Where are you? No! Okay. It's with a .05 millimeter. Not this one, the other one. And overall, kind of like the details. I don't think I'm drawing hair right again, but, whatever. Anyway, let's do this. Inks in 3, 2, 1. Okay, inks. This was almost a disaster. Holy cow. So yeah, I made a couple screw-ups. You can see them right here with this and this. I tried to use white ink, but I cannot find a good white ink pen to save my life. I don't know what to do about that one. I got to figure out what to do, how to do like white ink stuff. But anyhow, yeah, what can I say? It's okay. Looked a lot better in my pencils, that's what I would say. There's a long way to go when it comes to inking, and man, I don't know what to do. Some of this is also the fact that I've been using these Copics for like over a year, and some of them are starting to wear out, and their nibs are starting to get a little jacked up. So I have to figure out what I want to do, if I'm going to buy another set, or if I'm just going to buy the SPs. But anyhow, I'm going to see if I can salvage this in the colors. It might be Mission Impossible, but we'll see here. So 3, 2, 1. Woo-hoo. All right, don't call it a comeback. Man. All right, it's still not great, but thank God for Copic markers. Sheesh, man. So yeah, as far as this one was concerned, you can see the mistake obviously in the shoulder right here, and right here between the pectorals was the inking mistakes. And I kind of tried to use the colors as best I could to kind of hide it, but it is what it is. I'm happy about the way I kind of colored the face right here with the shading off to one side. I think it's really good. I think if I go back with there, I'd probably go back with another gray within here to go back. And I'm actually kind of happy about the flame trail right here where he's flying. The pose is a little bit stiff. I think if I would do this again, I would kind of bend him more. And then obviously he's a little bit out of anatomy here with the arm length, and then I think the pectoral's kind of a little bit weird right here, but not too bad. Decent recovery from my freaking awful inks. So kind of live with it as best you can. Whew. Anyway, that's the video, folks. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. You got any comments on the New Mutants number 55 or my art? Leave it down below, and I will see you next time.